I wanted my money back. It was very disappointing.
They are pretending like Rachel Zegler is the first of them all when she looks like Lord Farquaad in the film.
The Snow White version is woke and feminist and progressive.
Rachel Zegler, like so many kids raised on TikTok, she's all for infantada is the only global solution.
They're leaning into woke. Hardcore.
They're petrified of some kind of backlash.
So she comes off as an insufferable, whiny brat.
Of course, like with everything on the left these days, they just take it too far.
It just doesn't make any sense.
It makes a little bit more sense.
You can gaslight people so easily.
Yes.
The new Disney boss babe, who is Rachel Zegler, the inverse of happy.
Nobody wants a movie about true love? What kind of woman do we want out there seeking true love, Eliana? It's the outrage.
So the two stars hate each other.
Now, I'm guessing that she's not married. I'm guessing that she doesn't have kids. The movie is a complete disaster, by the way.
Every way that Disney changed the story, it changed it for the worse.
So apparently, according to them and according to the writers of Snow White, women can't even want to be in love anymore.
What happens when you let a smug actress and a woke agenda torch a Disney classic? You get the live-action Snow White, a $200 million disaster that crashed and burned faster than you can say bibbidi Bobby Boo.
Snow White gets her name, not from the fairness of her skin, as we obviously know. She gets her name from surviving a snowstorm.
This wasn't just a flop, it was a masterclass in how to alienate fans and empty theaters. Rachel Zegler, the entitled star with a mouth bigger than her talent, teamed up with Disney's over-the-top changes to make sure this remake bombed hard.
Trusted a first reaction by anybody in the media, please go look at the list of names of people who hyped this up as a good movie and make sure you never take their opinions seriously ever again.
The movie has a major identity crisis.
This is just so typical of the left. The progressives always finding a way to find their way back to doing something not progressive.
I sat through the whole thing. This was really bad. It was extremely leftist on every political dimension. Racial politics, sexual politics, class politics, regime politics. Its narrative was cowardly. It was just awful.
The movie is doing catastrophically. They spent $300 million and it currently has a 2.2 out of 10 rating on IMDb.
Disney banked on $150 million opening weekend, counting on nostalgia and Zegler's so-called star power. What did they get? A pitiful $43 million in the US. That's a straight-up catastrophe. Fans didn't show up, theater sat quiet, no lines, no buzz, while Ziegler's rude antics had people running the other way. She'd spent years trashing the 1937 classic, calling it weird and outdated in 2022. Interviews acting like she was above it all, then came her 2024 Trump rant.
So she came out and took a large dump on half of the country, everyone who voted for Trump.
President Rachel Zegler also posted, F Trump kinds of posts on social media. She also said that she hoped that Trump supporters, quote, never know peace.
And then she came out and she said, I apologize. Like I went too far, but it wasn't.
Disney didn't just remake Snow White. They shredded it with a woke agenda nobody asked for. The 1937 cartoon, a sweet tale of a kind princess, a dashing prince, and 7 quirky dwarfs. The 2025 version, a preachy mess that barely resembles the original. Zegler brag about it in 2022. We didn't do that love story crap. It's about her fighting her battles. She smirked like she'd fix some broken relic the prince wants her. Hero was demoted to a creepy nobody barely on screen.
Not going to be safe with the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
Oh my God.
The evil queen's jealousy over Snow White's beauty watered down to some vague power struggle. Disney's XX leaned hard into modern values, stripping out the romance and charm that made the classic timeless. The new song's a total train wreck.
Prince Charming in the traditional fairy tale and in the 1937 movie has been replaced by a common.
The 1937 film gave us Hi-Ho and Someday My Prince Will Come, all catchy timeless hits. The remake soundtrack, a jumbled mess that doesn't even fit.
Disney deleted Someday My Prince Will Come and made a modernized feminist alternative.
They say all you have to do to make your wish come true is let it echo, 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 echo.
It's awful, generic. Never mind that the lyrics make no sense at all. All you have to do to make your dream come true is let it echo. Is it like on a metaphorical level?
Another song mirrors lies, a moody queen rant that drags on forever. Dude's voice can't save it. Fans on YouTube ripped it apart. What is this garbage? One top comment read, Snow White's a musical, not a lecture hall. Zegler hyped them up in 2023, saying they are modern, not corny. Her woke entitlement shown through acting like the old songs were beneath her critics agreed they clashed with a story too heavy, too forced, no one's humming these flops.
It's got extra musical numbers that are incredibly unnecessary that really add to that runtime. And let me go ahead and let you know that they're absolutely f***ing atrocious.
The tone of this thing way too woke, with a feminist sledgehammer that crushed the Magic Men, got the short end hard, the prince reduced to a background creep. Ziegler called him a stalker in 2022, and Disney ran with the dwarfs. They're the workers now slaving away while Snow White lectures them on inner strength.
There's no life lesson to be had here, and instead it gets replaced with something far more sinister. They make a revisionist Marxist call to arms, where it is Disney's closest film to paraphrasing the Communist Manifesto, and it does.
Snow White is the fairest of them all because she has these communist sensibilities to share all resources with the farmers that till the land, and she got those sensibilities from her mother and her father.
The dwarf got screwed not once, not twice, but third times. A charmed first Disney planned real little person actors like the original. Then Peter Dinklage piped up in 2022.
Now you wash the dishes. You tidy up the room. You clean those cobwebs. And he'll use the broom. Whistle while you work. And cheerfully together we can tidy up the place.
In the original Snow White, she cleans the cottage after woodland animals take her there. When she learns the 7 dwarves live there, she offers to cook and clean the place for them as a sign of her gratitude. But in this one, she breaks in and then forces the dwarves to clean for her. So clearly the Barbie screenwriter they hired to write this film thinks that this is a clever kind of role reversal. Funny that making a feminist version of a character always means, in practice, just turning her into an unpleasant, unlikable nag.
The modern empowered Snow White won't even allow domestic labor carried out by herself. Instead, she orders the dwarves to tidy up themselves, even when they've had a hard day down the mine.
It's their house.
But it's so obvious now because of the blight of intersectionality that's spread throughout our entire society that we can't have a woman holding a broom. Not that Rachel Zegler would know what to do with a broom.
Disney flipped to CGI magical creatures. You know, white weird glowing things that look like cheap avatars. Then leaks showed these creatures doing Snow White's chores, cooking, cleaning the works while she sat around. Strike 2 by 2024 reshoots. Disney tweaked them again, making them diverse bandits who still handle the grunt work. Strike 3, now Snow White, some bossy figurehead. Not the hard-working heart of the tale. The final dwarf's a CGI mess that confused everyone, and please, no one by the way.
They should have just dropped it like every other steaming pile of dog shit they put on Disney Plus.
Just an enormous cultural failure, Disney's Snow White, which cost a $250 million ad in a miserable $43 million during its premiere, and that's from the AP.
And then they couldn't put dwarfs finding a way to find their way back to doing something not progressive. You'd think the most progressive thing would be get people jobs, and dwarfs want to work. That many scripts that come down the pike.
No, it's 7 of them.
That has, and there's 7 dwarf jobs here. But because I think it was Peter Dinklage said this is, this is not right to...
They're remaking the movie. They just got rid of the dwarfs. Okay,
but what do they call them?
Why would they get rid of the dwarves, though?
Magical creatures.
But they have one token dwarf amongst these magical creatures. You actually just went backwards. You actually just erased the dwarfism side of it.
The 7 dwarfs of Snow White have, of course, all just disappeared, and now they're the 7 dysfunctional men, I assume.
I mean, I guess, what are we going to have? Like a lesbian, a trans person, someone in a wheelchair, someone of color? Like, I don't understand. Why weren't the dwarfs enough? But apparently they were too offensive because the most famous dwarf of all, Peter Dinklage, said something negative about it back in 2022, thus ruining the biggest acting roles the dwarfs had ever seen since the creation of Willy Wonka's Oompa Loompas back in the 1970s.
Argument should have been from Peter Dinklage. There's power of being on TV. There's power of television. And to put 7 people with dwarfism on camera in a major Disney movie, there's still power there. If the story is offensive, change the story. Don't change the characters.
They couldn't have dwarves. Do you guys remember?
Yeah, because Peter Dinklage and all them were talking crap.
So originally they
took a picture of what the dwarves were supposed to look like.
I can find it, but it was an array. It was the DEI of dwarves. Yep. Well, they had to reshoot the film and use CGI dwarves.
There you go.
So those guys didn't make it.
No.
That guy's 6'2". That's sleepy, that's drunky, that's cokehead.
But what? You're joking.
They look like Santa's helpers.
And they were like, what? We just want to work. We're dwarves. So, ho, ho, ho.
Film bombed so bad families wouldn't touch it. Opening weekend should have been packed kids in princess dresses, parents reliving nostalgia. Instead, cricket that $87. $3 million haul was a slap in Disney's face, way below the $150 million they needed just to break even. Losses could hit $150 million with marketing piled on. Zegler's rude woke vibe was a big fat nope, her trashing the original, and her Trump tantrum screw you. All the feminist overhaul didn't help. Dads felt sideline, moms missed the charm. It's not fun, one ex-user posted.
By the way, she's not a good actress. Never should have been cast for this role. I mean, you could just look at her. You say, that's not Snow White. I mean, come on.
Just in, an enormous cultural failure, Disney's Snow White, which cost $250 million, raked in a miserable $43 million during its premiere, and that's from the AP. Imagine if you guys just made entertainment sake for the sake of entertaining.
My daughter wanted songs, not speeches. Theaters reported half-empty seats merch like dwarf dolls rotted on shelves. Disney's own data showed a 60% drop in family turnout compared to Cinderella's remake. Zegler's entitled I'm Better Than This act plus the woke tone made it a ghost town. No magic, no money, just a big fat zero. Well, actually more like a 1, I think. That's what it's rated on IMDb. Hollywood's whispering Disney's kicking itself. Rumors say XX are in meltdown mode. Layoffs looming. Remake dream shelved. This broke them an insider dish they are scared to touch. Classics now the stock dipped 3% post-premiere end. Zegler's a pariah. She's got a voice a casting guy said, but she's box office poison. Word is she's out of a Hunger Games sequel unconfirmed, but her rude woke streak fits a bill online. She's a meme. Zegler, the fairy tale flopper. Could they have asked her after the Trump mess? Maybe too late. She dragged it down, her entitlement, and Disney's agenda turned a sure thing into a cautionary tale. Is fairy tales a flop with no fairy dust left? Disney hands glare classic. She trashes it with woke rants and rude jabs. The originals gutted dwarfs. Our mess songs suck. And the feminist push kills the vibe. Zegler's career is wobbling. Disney's licking wounds. Fans are done pissed at her. Changes her attitude, the whole dang thing. Will Disney learn? This ain't a happy ending. It's a wake up. Cool, what do you think? Could they have saved it, or was Glaze mess too big? I'm scared of what they do to the next classic. Leave me a comment, and I'll see you tomorrow for another